Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Milagros, and this is a little space I like to carve out to share different tips, tools, techniques, nuggets, anecdotes, stories, things that can help us move the needle, even if it's 1 degree at a time, to the next level of healthy and happy, whatever that means for us at this time in our lives. And I just want to point out and remind us all that healing and health and happiness is never linear. It doesn't go from point A to point B. It goes like this, and then may take some squiggly squigs, and then maybe it takes a route over there and a little detour back that way, and then, so just be kind to yourself on your journey and understand that anything that we put into practice consistently becomes who we are, right? Our practice beliefs influence our behaviors, and then our practice behaviors is essentially who we are in our lives. I love that Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says that your personality is your personal reality, and your personal reality comes from practice. So you want to change your personal reality, change what you're practicing, right? So this month we're talking about gratitude, and I wanted to include meditation as a big piece of gratitude because we can use spaces of meditation in order to anchor ourselves into spaces of gratitude and appreciation. And because meditation is such a big part of what I do for myself and how I self-care, that I would be remiss if I didn't share those pieces of myself with you all in hopes that if you put it into practice, it might create different personal reality, right? So for those of you who don't know, when I was a teenager, I found myself standing in front of a judge because I, had some issues. And I found myself standing in front of a judge, and the judge gave me two options, to either go to juvenile detention or to do 40 weeks of anger management and probation for a year. I chose my freedom, so I chose to do anger management and probation. And the first thing that we did in that anger management class, a bunch of us restless, fickle, angry teenagers sitting in this circle, was breathing. And I remember when the woman told us that we were going to practice breathing, I told her that it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? She very quickly reminded me that if I did not participate, she would notify the judge. And then the other option, which I did not want, was also on the table. What I wasn't practicing was going to create a different personal reality. Listen, it all ties together, right? So I ended up taking, of course, the course, and during the first week, we practiced breathing, and we spent a lot of time just inhaling for 4, exhaling for 4. Back 25, 30 years ago, we didn't call it wasn't called meditation. As much as I can recollect, nobody said the words meditation, nobody said the words breath work, nobody said mindfulness, nobody said those words. That vocabulary didn't exist yet. But what did exist was the science behind the reality that if you pause to take deep breaths, it allows your body, your mind, your immune system to recalibrate, giving you an opportunity to approach whatever the situation is with more clear thinking, right? Studies have shown that when you are angry or you're having feelings of frustration, it actually lowers your IQ. So when you find yourself frustrated, if you don't handle that frustration, if you don't handle that anger, if you don't handle those negative emotions, you're now operating on a lowered IQ, which means you're not making the smartest decisions, literally. You're literally not making the smartest decisions because you're operating on a lower IQ. That has been proven. Studies have also shown that people who practice meditation, deep breathing, breath work, even if it's 5 minutes a day, improved their clarity, their mental clarity and concentration by 84%. That also helps reduce stress and anxiety throughout the day because if I'm operating more clearly, I'm making smarter, clearer, healthier decisions. And then because I'm making smarter, clearer, healthier decisions, I'm not acting out of desperation or frustration, and I'm not creating this cycle of negativity, right? So meditation for me back then became a really big part of my life, and I didn't even realize that what I was doing. I was just trying to stay calm and not go to jail, right? So there began this practice of breathing, and it was our homework to, in between classes, to practice breathing at least once a day, preferably in the morning, and then later on she had us add it to right before we went to bed. And then what started to happen was I could find that during the course of my days, over the practice of time, during the course of my day, when something happened, and instead of wanting to punch somebody in the face, I found myself anchoring back into my breath, like taking those deep breaths, because I don't want to be operating with a lower IQ and make decisions that are going to change the future that I'm trying to create for myself. The reality was, when I was that young, I wasn't really thinking about my future. But when the option of juvenile detention was on the table, I knew that that was not my future, right? So I knew at least that, because when we know what we don't want, we can get more clear about what we do want, so long as we're practicing awareness. And we go, ooh, I don't want that. Okay, then what do you want? Let me get clear about what I do want, because then I can create practices that are going to change my personal reality, which changes my personality, which means it changes my life, right? So I've said this before many times when people have asked me about what kind of stuff do I do to anchor myself in. And the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is I smile. As silly as it sounds, it's scientifically proven to change the structure of your brain and to increase neuroplasticity for the day, because you're not waking up and thinking all the bad things or all the to-dos. You're like, I'm alive. It's a new day with new opportunities. And a smile has been shown to increase serotonin and dopamine in the human body and lower cortisol. So essentially, it increases happy hormones and decreases stress and negative hormones, right? And then I think of 10 things that I'm grateful for before I even get out of bed. And it could be really general, right? Chapstick, the sheets on my bed, the blankets on my bed, my pillow, my bonnet to protect my curls, right? My toes, my legs, my fingers, my hands. It doesn't have to be super complicated. And a lot of times when people are first starting a gratitude practice, they want to go really big and grandiose, which is great. But life is made of the minutia, the little things throughout our days. So we want to really allow ourselves the opportunity to think about things that we're grateful for that are in those little spaces, right? Then I roll out of bed and either I go pee, I get some water, maybe I pet the cat, maybe I feed the cat, whatever. And then I hit my yoga mat. And I go right into 20 minutes of meditation in the morning, and I have to do this thing where I set my neck, right? And for me, it is a pivotal part of my day. I can confidently say that in the past year, I've probably missed it once or twice. And before that, it was probably 3 or 4 times. And before that, it was maybe a dozen, right? Because the more that we practice something, the more that it becomes who we are. And then it becomes not just our second nature, but our nature. And then we are just compelled to do it. Just like I can robotically go in the bathroom half dazed, not even thinking clearly, brush my teeth and floss, I can now fall into my meditation and just go away, right? And by that, I mean, from years of practice, I have something I call a nothing box, where I can go there and I'm literally thinking about nothing. When I first started, though, with the breathing techniques and the practicing and kind of anchoring myself in, it was literally 2 minutes. And all I did was try to focus on following my breath. I would inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts. The counting and the following of the breath allowed my brain to disconnect from my to-do list and all the other problems and things. When you focus on a problem, you can't find a solution. When you step away from the problem, it allows you to see it more clearly when you come back, because literally you're opening up your frontal lobe, right? I mean, there's so much data and science that I want to share, but I also want to keep this video nice and short. So what I'm going to do is create a 5-minute video where I'm literally just breathing, and then I'm going to voice over and have you join me in the breath work. And then at the end, just kind of focus on anchoring yourself in, whether that's the feeling of your body on your chair, I'm on my yoga mat, which is why I'm here, or the feeling of your body laying down, whatever it is, right? Really give yourself the opportunity to pause for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, so that you can gain more clarity in your mind and then move into your relationships, into the spaces of your life, into your work, into your different dynamics with a higher IQ and more clarity, right? It's these small practices that we take for granted and we miss out on the opportunity to create real space for health and happiness in our lives. It's one of the things that I recommend to everybody. When people tell me that they're highly stressed out, I'm like, do you meditate? Because I find that, again, the more that I practice meditating, the more I return to breathing when I have moments and opportunities of stress or challenge. And then I'm like, let me just breathe here for a second. I'm going to walk away, take a couple of breaths, come back with some clarity. And I would not be able to do that in the moment had I not practiced it when I was in a good place. So I want to encourage you all to practice meditation. And sometimes you could just sit and go, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my clothes. Thank you for my body. Thank you for my heart. Thank you for air that I breathe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just give yourself room to be in a space of gratitude while breathing, while practicing meditation. It becomes an anchor, the one thing to focus on to help create some space and some room in your mind. So I hope that this was helpful. If you know someone who can benefit from it, please go ahead and share it. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? And this is going to be followed up with part 2, which is going to be a 5-minute video of us breathing together and just kind of anchoring ourselves in. You can use it in the morning, at night, both, midday. Just don't do it while you're driving because it just doesn't seem safe. And I want you to stay safe. The goal is healthier and happier, right? Not crashing on a highway or driving. All right, I'm sending you love and light, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.